The silence of the dimly lit room was shattered only by the sound of your unsteady breathing. Jungkook stood too close, his presence overwhelming, the kind of closeness that made it impossible to think straight. His hand rested firmly on your jaw, tilting your face up towards him, forcing your eyes to meet his. "Look at me," his voice came out low, rough, and dangerous. Not a request, but a command. You swallowed hard, your pulse racing as his thumb brushed across your lips. Every nerve in your body screamed at you to pull away, but your heart betrayed you, leaning into his warmth of his touch. He smoked, catching the way your lips parted, the way you trembled under his gaze. "You drive me insane, Ryan," he whispered, his breath coasting against your skin. "And yet, I can't stay away." Before you could answer, his mouth was on yours, fierce and demanding, filled with every emotion he refused to say out loud. You gasped against him, but his arm snaked around your waist, pulling you closer until there was no space left between your bodies. The kiss deepened, messy, intoxicating. He tasted of danger and desire, a fire you couldn't extinguish, even if you tried. Your fingers curled into the fabric of his shirt, anchoring yourself as his lips devoured yours like he was starving. Like he had been waiting too long for this moment. When he finally pulled back, his forehead rested against yours. His chest rose and fell like with raged breaths. "You belong to me," Jungkook murmured, his voice roughened with need. "And I'll burn the world down before I let anyone take you away." You didn't reply. You couldn't. And not when your heart was racing so wildly, not when his eyes pierced into your soul like he already owned it. And maybe he did. The room was too quiet after his words, though, as though even the air itself was afraid to move. His grip on your jaw softened slightly, but he didn't let go. Jungkook's eyes searched yours, dark and unreadable, like a storm brewing in the night. "And you don't know what you've done to me, Ryan," he murmured, his voice soft but steady. "I've killed men without blinking, built an empire on fear." And yet he leaned closer, his lips brushing your ear. "You undo me with a single look." Your breath caught. His confession felt like a dangerous weapon, sharp and intoxicating. You wanted to step back, to put space between the two of you, but his presence pulled you in like gravity. Suddenly, a loud crush echoed from the side of the mansion, a gunshot, sharp and deafening. You flinched, but Jungkook didn't even blink. His eyes hardened instantly to softness, and him vanishing like smoke. "They are here," he growled under his breath, jaw tightening. "Who?" you started, but before you could finish, he grabbed your wrist, pulling you against his chest. His warmth should have comforted you, but instead it only fueled your racing heart. "Stay close to me," he ordered. His tone wasn't pleading, it was a command, laced with desperation. "If anyone who looks at you the wrong way tonight, I'll swear I'll put bullets between their eyes." He pulled out a gun, from the back of his jacket, the metallic click echoing like thunder. His other hand never left yours as he guided you towards the hidden exit. You could feel the tension rolling off him, the raw rage simmering just beneath his calm facade, and yet, even in the face of danger, Jungkook's fingers intertwined with yours, possessive and protective all at once. In that moment, you realized that this wasn't just about power or territory, this was about you. You weren't just part of his world now, you were his world. The sharp sound of footsteps echoed through the empty halls, growing closer and heavier. Jungkook's hand tightened around yours as he pulled you behind him, his body shielding yours like a wall of steel. Suddenly, bang! A bullet ripped through the silence, shattering the mirror behind you. Glass exploded across the floor. Jungkook shoved you down, his arm wrapping around your shoulder protectively. "Stay low," he hissed, his eyes burning as he raised his gun. His shots were precise, deadly. Every pull of the trigger meant someone else wouldn't live to see tomorrow. Your eyes and ears rang from the gunfire, your heart hammering so fast it felt like it might give out. You crawled behind a pillar, your body was trembling, and it was trembling really badly, but your eyes never left him. Even in the chaos, Jungkook moved like a predator, fast and controlled and lethal. This then it happened. A flash of movement, a gun aimed straight at him without thinking. You carried out his arm and pushed yourself forward. The bullet never reached Jungkook. Instead, pain tore through your side, white, hot, and searing. You gasped, echoed, louder than the gunfire. You staggered back, your hand instinctively pressing against the wound spreading across your shirt. Ryan, Jungkook's roar was pure rage and fear tangled together. His eyes widened in a way you had never seen before. He dropped his last target with a single shot before rushing towards you. You collapsed against him, your vision blurring. I'm fine. You lied. Your voice was weak. Don't you dare say that, he growled, his hands already pressing against your wound, trying to stop the bleeding. His jaw clenched so tight it looked like it might break. His shirt was quickly soaked in red, but he didn't care. You should have let me know, you interrupted, your voice trembling. I couldn't watch them hurt you. His breath hissed, fury and despair flashing across his face. He pressed his forehead against yours, his voice breaking. Damn it, Ryan, you're going to kill me before anyone else can. Even in that moment, bleeding trembling in his arms, you saw it. The man feared by the world was unraveling, not because of bullets or enemies, but because of you, and you realized then his greatest weakness was not Bar, it was you. Your vision blurred in and out as Junko carried you through the dark corridors, his arm cradling you against his chest like you were the most fragile thing in this entire world. Stay with me, baby. His voice crackled, raw and desperate. Don't you dare close your eyes, Ryan. You tried to respond, but the pain made it so hard to speak. Your hand clutched his shirt weakly and he hissed your temple, whispering curses under his breath as he kicked open a hidden door that led to the safe room. He laid you down gently on the leather couch, his trembling hands immediately working to stop bleeding. His face was pale, jaw tight, eyes blazing with a mix of terror and rage. Jungkook, he whispered faintly. His head snapped up. I'm here. I'm not leaving you. His voice broke as he pressed harder against the wound, his knuckles wide. I swear, man, I'll fix this. I'll protect you even if it kills me. For a moment, the world outside didn't exist. It was just the two of you fighting to stay awake, and him fighting harder than he had ever in his life. When your breathing steadied, his rage returned. He kissed your forehead one last time, whispering, wait for me. Then he stood up, his hands soaked in your blood, his eyes darker than sin itself. Minutes later, the entire mansion shook with the sound of war. Jungkook moved through the hallway like a shadow, guns blazing, his wrath unrelenting. No one was spared. Every scream, every cry was silenced by his bullets. He was merciless, a demon cloaked in black, and every kill was for you. By the time the last body hits the floor, he stood in the silence, chest heaving, hands trembling. He dropped the gun, running his bloody hands through his hair as his thoughts circled back to you, back to the girl who had stepped in front of a bullet for him, back to the only thing he couldn't afford to lose. Then for the first time in his entire life, Jeon Jungkook realized that the world could burn and he wouldn't care as long as you left. The world came back to you slowly. The sharp smell of antiseptic, the soft beeping of heart monitor, and the faint warmth of a hand clutching yours like it was the only thing keeping him alive. Your eyes fluttered open, and the first thing you saw was Jungkook, his messy hair, his clothes still stained with blood, but his gaze was locked on you, heavy with exhaustion. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, his knuckles raw, jaw bruised. Ryan, his voice cracked, and he said your name. He leaned forward, brushing his lips across your hand. God, I thought I lost you. You tried to sit up, but the sharp pain shot through your side, making you wince. Immediately, Jungkook was there, steadying you up with gentle hands. Don't move, he whispered, his tone softer than he had ever heard. You're safe now. No one will ever touch you again. Your eyes searched his face, reading the storm behind his calm exterior. Jungkook, what did you do? He froze for a moment, then leaned back in his chair, his gaze dropping. His voice was low and dangerous. I made sure that they'll never come near you again. None of them. Not now, not ever. You knew what that meant. His hands, the same ones holding yours so tenderly now, were stained with the blood because of you. Your chest tightened. You shouldn't. Don't. He cut you off sharply, eyes blazing as they met yours. Don't you dare say I shouldn't have. They hurt you. They nearly took you away from me. His jaw clenched, his hand tightening around yours. I would burn down the entire world if it meant keeping you safe. Silence stretched between you, heavy and unspoken, before he leaned closer, resting his forehead against yours. His voice softened to a whisper. You are mine, Ryan, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving that no one, nothing, will ever take you away from me. For the first time since the chows, you let yourself relax into his arms, your tears soaking his shirt as he held you like you were the entire universe for him. Outside the hospital, the world was buzzing. Everyone in the underworld whispered about that night, about Jeon Jungkook, the man who painted the ground in blood because of someone dared to hurt the person he couldn't live without. And from that day on, everyone knew touching you was the same as signing a death sentence. The days after the shooting passed in a haze of whispered words and sleepless nights. Jungkook clearly left your side, his chair permanently pulled closer to your hospital bed. Sometimes you woke up in the middle of the night and found him still awake watching you with haunted eyes, as if he feared you'd vanish if he blinked. One evening you stirred to find his hand resting, his head actually resting against the mattress, his fingers still tangled with yours, his lashes were damp, his face softened in sleep. The sight before you something broke something inside you. This man feared by everyone, undone and fragile only with you. You reached out weakly, brushing his hair back from his face, his eyes fluttered open instantly, sharp instinct dulled only when he realized it was you. Ryan, his voice was husky, barely awake. He straightened quickly, guilt flashing in his eyes. I should have protected you better. Jungkook, you whispered, shaking your head. You did protect me. You always do. He pressed his lips into a thin line, then leaned closer, cupping your face gently, such a contrast to the man who held guns with steady hands. I can handle bullets, betrayal, blood. His thumb brushed your cheeks. But I can't handle losing you. Your heart clenched for a moment. It was only the two of you, no guns. No blood, no shadows. Just raw, unspoken love. But place and peace never lasted in his world. Later that night his phone buzzed. You watched as his jaw tightened, his eyes turning cold again. He stepped out to take the call, but you caught fragments of his sharp voice. They knew about her. If they touch her, I'll end every last one of them. When he returned, he tried to mask it, but you saw the storm in his eyes. They're coming for you, Ryan, he admitted finally, his voice a mix of worry and fear. They think you're my weakness, you swallowed, your pulse quickening. Am I? His answer was immediate, raw. You're not my weakness, you're my only strength. He grabbed your hand, pressing it against his chest, where his heart hammered wildly. You make me fight harder, but yes, if they touch you, I'll lose myself. That night he didn't leave your side, his gun rested on the table beside him, his hand never letting go of yours. And for the first time you realized, loving Jungkook meant living in a world where bullets and blood would always follow. But this also meant being loved with an intensity so fierce that it could set the whole world on fire. The hospital walls suffocated Jungkook, too sterile, too exposed, enemies and eyes everywhere. He refused to risk you any longer, so a week later, under the cover of night, he whisked you away. His hand never left yours as his car sped down a coastal road. Headlights cutting through the darkness, the city flood, the whispers. All of it was left behind. Hours later, you arrived at a secluded villa by the sea. Waves crashed against the cliff below, and the salty breeze filled the air. For once, the world felt far away. Jungkook carried your bag inside himself, then guided you to the balcony. His arm slipped around your waist, pulling you close against him as the wind tugged at his hair. You deserve this, he murmured, his voice softer than the ocean below. A place where no one can touch you, where it's just us. You looked up at him, the moonlight painting the sharp features, and what about you? Don't you deserve the peace too? A faint smoke tugged at his lips, but his eyes were vulnerable. Peace doesn't exist for me, Ryan, but with you I can pretend. The night stretched on in stolen kisses, whispered promises, and the comfort of his arm around you. For a brief moment, it was almost easy to believe the war was over. But peace was never meant to last. The first explosion shook the villa. Just before dawn, glass shattered, flames licked the sky, and gunfire erupted outside. Jungkook was on his feet instantly, shoving you behind him. The gun was already in his hands. Stay low. Don't move. Your heart pounded as shouts echoed through the night. His enemies had found you. Bullets tore through the walls. Jungkook fired with ruthless precision, each shot calculated, deadly. His movements were fluid, protective. He was everywhere at once, shielding you, striking down anyone who came too close. But there were too many. One of them broke through, charging straight at you. Before you could scream, Jungkook was there. His knife flashed, a brutal strike ending his throat before the man could touch you. His eyes were wild, blood splattering across his jaw. Ryan, he grabbed your shoulder, checking you over frantically. Are you hurt? You shook your head, though your body trembled. I'm fine. His jaw clenched. No, you're not fine until this end. With a final merciless push, Jungkook fought through the last of them, leaving silence and smoke in his wake. When the villa finally stilled, he stood in the ruins, just heaving his hands, still trembling as he looked at you. He crossed the distance in seconds, pulling you into his arms so tightly that you could barely breathe. I don't deserve this, he admitted, his thumb brushing across your cheek tenderly. I don't deserve you. Your heart ached. You reached up, cupping his jaw, forcing him to look at you. Jungkook, you fought for me. You bled for me. You chose me over everything you built. Don't you see? You're all I want. For a moment, his composure cracked, his lips trembled, his eyes glistening as he leaned in his forehead against yours. I love you, Ryan, he whispered, the words breaking free after being caged for too long. His voice was rough and vulnerable. More than life, more than the world, you're my beginning and my end. Tears slipped down your cheeks as you smiled through them. I love you too, Jungkook. In every lifetime, in every world, it'll always be you. He kissed you then, slow, desperate, filled with every unsaid promise. The kind of kiss that made time stop and the kind that stitched every wound shut. His hands cupped your face like you were the most fragile, precious thing in the existence. And when he pulled away, resting his forehead against yours, his lips curved into the faintest and faintest smile. No more shadows, he murmured, just us. The waves crashed below, the sun rose higher, and for the first time in forever, Jeon Jungkook wasn't the Mafia King, he wasn't the monster the world feared. He was just a man, your man, and he was finally free. It was strange waking up to the sound of waves instead of gunfire, strange but beautiful. You rolled over in your bed, finding Jungkook fell still asleep beside you, his tattoos peeked from under his shirts, from the sheets, his hair messy, lips parted slightly for once. His face wasn't hard with tension, he looked younger, softer, like the boy he might have been in the world hadn't demanded blood from him. Smiling, you reached out to trace his jaw with your fingertips. He stood, catching your wrist mid-air, without opening his eyes, still trying to sneak a look at me while I'm sleeping. His voice was husky and playful. You laughed. Maybe I just like watching you when you're not brooding like the Mafia King. His eyes opened and dark and warm all at once. He tugged you closer until you were sprawled across his chest. I'll always be your king, he teased, kissing the top of your head, but now I'm just your husband. Your heart skipped. The word husband still felt new. It made your chest heat. The small silver band on your finger glimmered in the morning light, proof of everything that you had survived together. The day was simple. Breakfast, burnt courtesy of Jungkook. A walk along the shore, laughter that echoed louder than the gunshot ever had. But even in peace, his protectiveness lingered. When you tripped on a rock by the beach, Jungkook caught you instantly, eyes narrowing like you had been shot again. Careful, baby. You'll give me a heart attack, you giggled, brushing sand off your dress. Relax, I'm fine, he frowned but kissed your forehead anyways, muttering, not taking chances with you. Not ever. That night curled in your arms, in his arms, as the ocean hummed outside, he whispered against your hair. And you have walked through fire together. But this, the quiet life with you, it's the only heaven I'll ever need. You tilted your face up to him, smiling softly. Then let's never let it go. And for once, there was no shadows lurking in the corners. You was waiting to fought just the Jungkook pound, not by blood, but for the fate of that living.